Umimpil, one-stop parking facilities in the central city of Urdaneta to relieve the insufficiency of parking. Presented by Architect Prudencio M. Sumera Jr., presented to Architect Irene G. Florendo. Abstract. Urdaneta is the third most populous LGU in Region 1. It accommodates 136,069 inhabitants according to the 2017 census, representing 4.5% of the population of Pangasinan Province. The city is currently facing significant difficulties as a result of its sheer size and growing population. Traffic congestion is the topmost critical urban issue, which can impede the city's vision as a center for agro-industrial growth and educational improvement. Along with the traffic congestion issue, one major cause is insufficient parking facilities in the city, specifically in the central business district. Parking as part of a wider transportation system is one of the most serious issues of our day. The requirement to keep vehicles near destinations creates a tough architectural quandary as the global automotive population develops substantially. To ensure the safe and efficient passage of the car and driver, the functional operational component of the parking facility must come first. This is a difficult problem to solve since it necessitates consideration of automotive, engineering, and transportation considerations concerning site selection. As a result, building a parking facility will need the collaboration of a number of professionals. Typically, the smallest standalone structure of parking lot possible is built, with no regard for human aesthetics or integrative features. As a result, parking has a negative public perception and frequently undermines the existing urban fabric. Many architects, engineers, and planners, on the other hand, have designed and built structures that are considerably more complex, attractive, and integrated. This should be the objective of effective parking design. Through the actual observation of the CBD's existing on-street parking and paid parking in the mall area, where it is evident that existing parking facilities are not enough to cater to the need for parking. Moreover, from the direct interview with the chief of the POSO, CPDO, and city engineering, they are all in chorus that there is a need for parking facility. But unfortunately and regrettably, there are no data available for the volume of cars and statistics for the claim. Therefore, with this study, the proposal of one-stop parking facilities is being raised. Introduction. Humimpil is a Tagalog term that means to stay temporarily, to stop temporarily, to rest, or to park. One of the major problems of the city is the scarceness of parking facilities. On-street parking situated along Alexander Street is insufficient for public parking, peak or off-peak. Likewise, the paid parking on Magic Mall and Magic Mall Annex is also mostly fully packed. This one-stop parking facility will house the affected stalls from the site, TODA parking spaces of 4 for each barangay's TODA situated within the CBD. Private cars, bicycles, tricycles, and motorbikes, commercial spaces, and gardens. One-stop means a concept in which they will park and move around the CBD on foot. They will encourage everyone to walk to their destinations. The proposed site is in close proximity to the major establishments within the CBD. It is the center and accessible enough to walk from the parking onto the church, city hall, malls, shops, banks, and markets. Future developments such as road widening will enhance its potential for a viable parking location. The parking facility is one of the most crucial facilities in an urbanized area. The number of automobiles on the road is constantly rising, causing traffic congestion along the way, especially since the existing parking facilities provided by the city cannot suffice the demand for parking. Statement of the problem. The fast urbanization of the city continues together with infrastructure development. Hence, the problem of parking arises. The city provided on-street parking within the central business district, with a total of 65 parking slots. The Public Order and Safety Office, POSO, said that the parking provided is not enough to suffice the need for parking in the CBD area. It is always fully packed the whole day and the whole week. CBD is the location of the most dominant establishments, the likes of City Hall, Cathedral, Elementary School, shopping malls, banks, shops, and major markets. With these establishments within the CBD, an increasing number of transport vehicles are also expected. Thus, the parking facility needs to be addressed. Urban parking challenges. There have been initiatives to regulate and reorganize traffic congestions in the CBD, including the construction of bypass road and traffic flow or routing. It also includes the provision of on-street parking along Alexander Street. Alexander Street on-street parking. The two parallel areas of the two arteries are developed for commercial facilities such as the Banco de Oro, BPI, Metrobank, Mercury Drug, Hardware, Magic Mall and Annex, Olunat One Central School, Old City Hall, or Nadera Cultural Center and other commercial establishments. With these establishments along with this area, existing parking is not enough. Don Eusebio Sison Boulevard. Located between two shopping malls of Magic Mall of Companies, the existing land use in the area is typical commercial, with a grade separation structure with two arteries. This street is one way on both sides. There are a total of 21 barangay todas in this street. Season Street. Located along Season Street, bounded by commercial stalls and the location of the Roman Catholic Church, the existing land use in the area is commercial. This area with which the tricycle private and TODA causes the street to be unable to operate its maximum capacity. The local government has made it policy to supply on-street parking. Unfortunately, it is not sufficient to suffice the demand for parking for private commuters, shoppers, and deliveries around the CBD of the city. This shows a view of the area where on-street parking is allowed. With the aim of the city to boost its tourism sector, there are ongoing infrastructures within the CBD. These projects will eventually increase the need of parking in the CBD. City Tower. This 15-story tower is a remarkable milestone for the city. It will be the first tower in the region. The tower has a viewing hall on the 7th floor, a suite room on the 11th floor, and a multi-purpose hall on the 12th and 15th floor. It is situated within the CBD and the vision to be overlooking the entire cityscape. The income-generating tower will be free and privileged for the Ordanitanians, and an entrance fee will be collected from outsiders. Ordaneta City People's Park. Ordaneta City People's Park is an ongoing project of the city to give a place for recreation for the people. It is located beside the Ordaneta Cultural Center. The park will serve as the main open space of the city. It will feature a state-of-the-art dancing fountain, playground, benches, open lawns, landscapes, and hardscapes. Objective of the study. City's urban development should also develop its facilities. In this study, the following will be tackled. Assessing the need for a parking facility in the central city due to the insufficiency of the existing on-street parking. Evaluating the viability of the proposed site of the parking facility and relocating the affected tenants of the existing old market to the proposed facility. Identifying the solution to the emerging demand for parking in the central city and integrating commercial spaces. Description of the case study. Ingradia L. and Vagadia P. 2015 examined most automobiles are stopped for extremely brief durations during peak hours. The location is also connected to various significant attractions in malls and shopping. Therefore, traffic flow is hampered due to the existing car park on the street. For long travels, this results in time loss and delay. To prevent these delays and optimize the space available in the most parking areas, parking on the roof is an option. A case study of Famulan and Dare Road. The author has studied the quantity of parking and parking loss, and the study rewards the city of Annan's commercial core. Two types of surveys were done to count the volume that had been utilized for enrollment recording techniques, survey video recording, a survey of land usage, and a parking survey. He evaluated the data and proposed that the Amul Dairy Road use mixed territory. The right-of-way is 30 meters long. Traffic composition has higher fraction of two wheels than the others. According to the data research, car parks are the most popular in the short term and the least popular in the long term. On a Bopal study with reference to the user satisfaction with the parking space and the accessibility of the market. This paper concluded that during weekends and public demand for vehicle parking exceeds supply, having a negative impact on retail sales and causing severe dissatisfaction while shopping. This article investigates the many features of extent variables that impact client pleasure when purchasing. The study was descriptive in nature, with a self-designed questionnaire employed to collect primary perceptions. In the roadside questionnaire, retailers and customers were asked their thoughts on the market area, switch that they may be readily done in the present policy, maximum parking, remote parking. Research is an attempt to examine topics connected to the aforementioned criteria. The questionnaires were designed to collect primary and secondary data from books, periodicals, and the Internet. This is an inquiry work for the solution of difficulties in the construction of an ideal position automobile. Parking management and market accessibility, as well as other associated elements, are shopping satisfaction determinants for various shoppers in various marketplaces. SPSS is used to process the data gathered from the questionnaires. This research looked at the characteristics that influence buyer satisfaction in the commercial metropolis of Bhopal. Parking management is less strict in Old Bhopal than in New Bhopal. It implies that a multi-story parking garage is the best solution. The association between different aspects of gaining satisfaction and overall contentment demonstrates that there is a consumers with less favorable overall satisfaction. Shenzhen Wize coordinated urban planning of street parking and off-road parking to maximize the planned design of urban parks. The authors investigated the features of an on and off street parking. Second, the distribution patterns created for street parking and off-road with the goal of decreasing the distances cars target driver will be integrated to define the coordinated deployment model. Finally, it was proved that the method's maneuverability in a case. It was determined that there are no differences in parking demands on the street and off-street parking, as well as the presence of parking durations, considerations considered by parking, and effects of traffic flow. To address the short and long-term parking requirements, models are developed on the street and off-street parking to fulfill the various demands of parkers, parking, and traffic flows. Parameters such as the maximum walking distance and influence on traffic flow and the road are employed. Significance of the study. This study will benefit car owners and drivers, commuters, and riding public, the local government, and the environment. Drivers and car owners. To provide parking facilities for automobiles and retain on-street parking. The structure of parking spaces and roads could be used to the fullest potential by cars. Commuting public and tricycle drivers. The congestion will make it easier for drivers and passengers of moving vehicles to navigate the streets and get where they're going. Tricycle TADA terminals will be on one place and shelter. Stall owners and commercial establishments. Stall owners will have a better and more efficient structure for their business. No need to worry about leaking roof and unorganized stalls. Also, commercial establishments within the downtown CBD will benefit from this study. With its close proximity and walkability, commercial establishments having no parking spaces will be reachable. City government. The city will have a base for further study for the same project and additional revenue should this study pursue. Environment. Less traffic congestion and no cars roaming around to find their parking mean a lesser carbon footprint. And since it is close proximity to the major establishments in the CBD, walking will be encouraged. Though bike lanes not available in the city, there is a provision for bike parking. Scope and limitations. The research scope includes only the central business district of the city of Urdaneta. It focuses on the proposal of one-stop multifunctional parking facilities. Due to time constraints, other concerns such as management, sustainable building materials, in-depth environmental analysis, and pedestrian lanes are not included. Review of related literature. An evaluation of spatial distribution of public parking facilities in Huizhou downtown. As part of the transportation difficulties in urban environments, the geographical distribution of parking facilities has been widely studied in recent years, since the implementation of its reform and opening up agenda in the 1980s. China has seen massive societal changes. Not only has the economy risen, but so has the average person's standard of living. Concurrently, the tendency for urbanization has quickened. As the number of private automobiles has grown, travel has become more convenient and efficient. However, parking has emerged as one of the most serious challenges in many locations, notably major cities. The city's long-term growth has been impeded by a series of paradoxes caused by the need for parking facilities. Researchers have examined parking demand, parking behaviors, geographical distribution, parking facility development and assessment. Experts from all over the world have been researching them since the 1940s. Large-scale surveys were utilized in adjust parking facility indicators in the United States, leading to the creation of parking demand forecast mode. Many academics have developed parking facility locating models based on various dispersion indices. Dataset and method. The supply and demand indices for parking. Parking supply refers to the capacity to meet the demand for parking facilities. In general, parking space is the most important and straightforward indication of parking supply, as it represents the total of all available parking spaces, and while the two primary types of parking spaces are off-street parking and on-street parking. Parking features are associated with how people use parking lots. We utilize two typical indicators to evaluate the parking features of Huizhou downtown: parking utilization rate and parking turnover rate. The parking utilization rate serves as a foundation for studying utilization in relation to many factors such as parking lot location, urban economic development, and demographic status, among others. The parking turnover rate is the average frequency of parking in a unit parking spot during a certain time period, which measures parking capacity. The higher the turnover rate, the more vehicles the parking service may accommodate. Spatial distribution analysis indicators the movement of traffic from one area to the others is referred to as accessibility. It is also an essential factor to consider when evaluating geographical dispersion. There are numerous approaches for evaluating accessibility. When alternative parking choices, distance to destination, and walking time were considered, the common model was utilized in ArcGIS to evaluate accessibility based on the least traffic impedance. Demand characteristics of parking system in urban areas. The accelerating trend of private automobile usage in metropolitan areas as a result of fast-growing economy, effective laws, and subsidies are the primary culprits, making car parking one of the world's major challenges for transportation and traffic management. The synchronization of parking rules and traffic management highlighted how parking is becoming a barrier to the operation of through traffic. It is also accountable for the wasteful use of limited resources, as policy choices are made on an ad hoc basis. As a result, it is critically to comprehend parking decisions, behavior, as well as real parking space demand. Numerous studies have been conducted over the previous 3 decades to analyze parking features, predict parking demand, and examine motorist behavior when selecting a parking place. This unifies all these features and provides a current review of models and studies on the parking system, parking problems and their solutions, various parking characteristics and their applications, parking choice, behavior drivers, development of demand models taking into account various factors, and a review of parking policies as an integrated part of the urban transportation system are all thoroughly discussed. While underdeveloped, authors discovered that criteria such as ease of access, walk time, parking cost, parking advice and information system management, and so on should be given more considerations at all levels of planning and policy creation. Taken collectively, and the aforementioned studies provide important information on the overall parking system. It also gives planners and policymakers vital information for planning, developing, and assessing parking systems. Theoretical framework. This research adopts a theoretical and applied approach. It reviewed literature that is needed for the challenges faced by the area of study. Then it will deal with the understanding of the problem, data collection, and strategic SWOT analysis of the locality. Afterward, it will investigate its main topic, which is the parking facilities and its viability. The applied part of this study focuses on the Ordinary City Bagsakan market, where the concept of parking has been applied to solve the problems resulting from the interference of multi-use activities and transportation modes in the central area. It will showcase a multifunctional parking facility, project with illustrations and sketch analysis drawings, and summarize the collective solution theme. Understanding the problem. Current traffic flow. Two-way traffic along Alexander Street, one-way traffic in Don Eusebio Season Boulevard and Season Street. Data collection. With all these problems known, below list of tables give us an overview of vehicles within the area of study. Methodology. Road network inventory. Primary data were gathered by site investigation, documentation of observations in the area, vehicle parking and on-street parking characteristics, and actual site surveys conducted. On-street parking along Alexander Street is most of the time full. The number of tricycles TODA along Don Eusebio Street is provided by the POSA with 4 tricycles allotted for every barangay. Others are done through direct counting and getting the mean. The first consideration of the site is the location. With its close proximity and only possible location for parking facilities in the CBD, it is a viable option for the proposal. Government agencies such as the City Planning and Development Office, City Engineer Office, and the Public Order and Safety Office, POSO, are in unison that the site is the best location for the parking facility. Other than it being the only viable place within the CBD, it is also strategically located wherein you can move to any destination downtown CBD. The study by Shimpal M. et al. In August 10, 2011, the average walking speed is given per age category. Distances of the establishments and facilities from the site. People's Park at 490 meters, City Tower at 420 meters, City Hall at 170 meters, 85 meters to Cathedral, and 395 meters to Public Market. Based on simple study, here's a table of walking time per age group. The farthest, which is the People's Park, is a 6.48 minutes walk from the site. Results and discussions. Most of the establishments along the downtown CBD are all commercial and with few to very limited parking spaces. Finding space for parking leads to traffic congestion in the downtown CBD. One-way traffic flow somehow eases the congestion but does not remedy the problem. People who travel to the market, job, church, and other places of business primarily use passenger automobiles. The most on-street parking spots are on Alexander Street. Within this region are facilities like public market, school, city hall, and shopping centers. Figure B.1 shows the number of cars, motorcycles, tricycles registered in LTO for June 2022 alone. Motorcycles have the most numbers of registration with 2,782, followed by cars with 2,315 and lastly tricycles with 2,133. These numbers in June alone demand higher number of parking spaces if considered to be using the parking facilities. Figure B.2 on the other hand shows the percentage of public on-street parking as per location. It shows that the highest percentage of parking is along the elementary school with 38.5% of the 65 total on-street parking. The site is very strategic in location. Table 6.0 shows the time to walk towards the main destinations in the downtown CBD. It varies by age category and the time spent walking. Let's consider the age bracket 30 to 49 as the mean. Time spent walking to the City Hall's 2.25 minutes, Cathedral 1.12 minutes, 6.48 minutes to People's Park, and 5.56 minutes to City Tower, 3.31 minutes to elementary school, and 5.22 minutes to the public market. These statistics show that the site is viable to the location of such parking facility. In this figure, car parking and total entries and exits are totally separate to avoid collisions and congestion in the traffic flow. The future road widening will help decongest the traffic in this area as it will create an avenue that caters only to the cars that will use the parking and those who will pass on Season Street. To encourage bike use, bike parking is provided on the island in front of the parking building. As shown in this figure, rentable spaces for commercial, offices, shops, etc. also provided with parking exclusive for tenants as complementary for renting. The third floor consists mainly of parking spaces shown in this figure. To allow natural ventilation, the walls will be open through and through. This will lessen the carbon footprint. This upper floor parking with an opening to the roof to create more ventilation and air circulation. This garden roof is another feature of structure in an open space on the roof. Conclusion and recommendation. Although the main objective of this study has been met, it has been assessed that indeed using direct interviews, observation, and data analysis, there is a need for a parking facility in Central City due to the insufficiency of existing on-street parking. The viability of this site has been evaluated to be the location of the proposal. It is a strategic location and within walking distance of all the major establishments within the CBD. It is identified that a one-stop parking facility will suffice a problem of supply to the higher demand for parking facility. The researcher strongly recommends further research and study on this topic to come up to its fullest potential. Thank you for listening and God bless everyone.